So some advantages. It's free. It's a pretty simple user interface, and it's a good medium for beginners who are transitioning from, starting, except it's visual and it's through block coding. It was developed by MIT and it's available on iOS and Android, but Android is a little bit better. It has more capabilities. It easily connects to your devices for live testing. And it's basically a beefier version of Scratch if you've ever used that. Some of the TAs can provide you the link for the slides, either in the Discord or in the chat later. So you guys can look at that if you want. Week 2, we talked about machine learning, reviewed what it is, we talked about supervised versus unsupervised learning, and we discussed how a neural network works. And we used PIC again to build a facial recognition game. Okay, again, the slides is there for you if you need. Then we talked about natural language processing, talk about what that is, how it works, tokenization, stemming, lemmatization, POS tagging. We also used an IBM Watson demo to kind of see how NLP works in action. And then we also built a therapist bot that uses an API to recognize your tone. So yeah, that's basically it. And our final week, our fourth and final week, we did computer vision. So we talked about what computer vision what computer vision is and how it works. Some uses for computer vision, also CNNs versus RNNs, which is convolutional neural networks versus recurrent neural networks. We built a scavenger hunting app that uses the Look extension in MIT App Inventor. And that's it. Okay, so now we can get started on our basic app building demo. So we are going to be creating a recipe generator. So you can follow along with this if you'd like, but you don't have to. All of these slides is here for your reference. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to open up my MIT App Inventor. And I'm going to actually start a new project so you guys can follow along if you would like. So the purpose of this app is we are trying to create an app that generates Thanksgiving recipes. And the way we are going to do that is by using this extension here called the chatbot extension, which is basically just ChatGPT for MIT App Inventor. So yeah, so let's just get started. So first things first, what I want to do is change this center align, change the screen to center align. So all my elements are going to be in the center of the screen. So let's change this to a label. So give me a little bit bigger. And I want to include these ingredients. This is just a label. And now I want a text box for me to, or for the user to input their ingredients. Let's make this bold. And I'm gonna get rid of the hint here. Make this, that's good to me. Okay. Now what we need to do is need a button. So this is going to be generate button. And I'm also going to create where the recipe is going to go. So I want this to be the title of the recipe. So I'm going to make this pretty big. I'm going to make it size 20. Let's make that bold. And I'll just make this title. And I'm going to rename this label so you can refer to it easily. So that's the title. And I'm going to have another label here. I want this to say ingredients. But I don't want this to be actually the ingredients. This is going to be where the ingredients is going to go, but I'm just going to make that blank. Name this ingredients. So I want the ingredients label, and I also want another part that actually lists out the actual ingredients. And I'm going to make this red just to distinguish it. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but with instructions. And I'm going to keep this black. And I'm going to rename this to instructions. So now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 labels. And this is where our recipe is going to appear once we've got it from the chatbot. Okay, one more thing I'm going to do. I'm going to change these to center aligned. Okay. Let's see. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a picture just for fun. Let's make this 200 by 200. And the picture I'm going to choose. Where's my Thanksgiving? There we go. That's my turkey. There we go. Now we have a turkey. Another important thing, make sure you select scrollable or else you won't be able to scroll on your app. Okay, that should be about it. Final thing, we need to put in our chatbot extension. And I also want a, what's it called? A notifier extension. Okay, perfect. So now we can just start coding. So this is going to be a pretty simple app. This is our button here. And let me go back here. I'm going to rename these so it's easier for me to see. So this is going to be ingredients or input. And this is going to be the generate button. There we go. It's a little better. Okay. So when this generate button is clicked, I want a couple things to happen. First, I want to ask this chatbot to give me a recipe. Okay. So I want it to give me a recipe using the ingredients that the user inputs, right? So the way we do that is with this join function. So let's just tell it to give me a Thanksgiving recipe using these ingredients. And the input is just going to go here. Text. Okay. And I think I want to format the response in a specific way. So I'm going to, let's go comma, and I want to say separated into sections of ingredients. Sorry, title, ingredients, and instructions. Okay, and that will give me a response, or that will give me the response that I want. So if we go back to the slides here, the request is here for you if you want to just copy and paste that in. And let's see, this is the response that we are looking for. So you can see here how it shows the title, the ingredients, and the instructions, okay? Separated into, I don't need this one. Okay, perfect. And another thing I want to do is pull up this notifier function, and I want it to show a progress dialog. Okay, and this progress dialog, I'm going to go back to here to the slides. This is what it's going to show up. Okay, so I just want that. And what I wanted to say is, what did I have it say? All right. Generating your recipe dot, and the time's going to be low. Oh yeah. I'm going to give you guys a second to catch up if you need. But if you go to the slides here, everything is listed out here for you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it for step 1, I think. Step 2. Here's all the components that you need to add though. I'm going to leave this here for a minute, just for you guys to catch up. For those of you who are following along, just let me know if you are ready to go with like a thumbs up or just anything in the chat. All right. I'm just going to move on for now. And okay. So now we have our request. So this is what we're going to be asking chatbot to give us. So once chatbot has got a response, we want to process that in a few different ways. Okay. So if you look back here, this is the response that it gives back to us. And I don't want it to say title or ingredients or instructions. I just want these parts highlighted in red, okay? And the way I'm going to do that is using these blocks, these split blocks, okay? So let's see if I remember how to do this. We're going to initialize list 1 to be separate, where is it? Split text at, let's say title, and the text it's going to split up is the response text, okay? Make sure when you type in title here that you put a space after the colon. Because when you look at it here, there is a space after. The title is an all-in-one line, and there is a space after the colon. So we just want to get rid of that. So what this is going to do is going to turn the response into a list. And in the list, the first item is just going to be blank, all right? There's going to be nothing. And then the second item is just going to be everything after title space, okay? And now I'm going to do that again, but with list 2. And this time I wanted to split at ingredients. So I'm going to change this to ingredients. And instead of the response text, I'm going to split up the text that we already split. But remember, this is a list. So we are going to need to select from this list. I want to select the second item in this list. Okay. But pay attention here. When it says ingredients, ingredients is on its own line. So that means there is no space after ingredients. So make sure you don't put a space after ingredients. So just to review, after title, you need a space, but after ingredients, you don't. Okay. Now I'm just going to repeat this one more time, but with the instructions. So this 3, I'm going to split at the words instructions. And instead of list 1, I'm going to split list 2. And it's still going to be the second item. Okay. And now we have formatted the response into these 3 lists. But I really only want list 2 and list 3. So now I'm just going to set these labels into the list or into the response we got. Okay, so title, I'm going to set the title to be select from list, and I want it to be the first thing in list 2. So list 2, index 1. Okay, I'm going to set the ingredients to the first thing in list 3, and I'm going to set the instructions to the second thing in list 3. Does that make sense? And that should be it for your response. Again, it's all here for you as well. And I am forgetting one thing, which is we want to dismiss this progress dialog. So let's go back to notifier. Just put that here, and then that should be it. And that should be our app completed. Now, there is a few things you can also do. If we put a vertical arrangement here, and then we put all of these, if we put all of these labels inside of this arrangement, we can actually hide it so it doesn't show up when the response is not here yet. So let me just, here's this thing. Go in here. Okay. I'm gonna change this to center aligned. You don't have to do this. It just looks a little bit cleaner because without this, then these texts show up when nothing is here. So I'm just gonna put this in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this. So I'm going to make it invisible. And it's only when it gets a response that I'm going to make this visible again. Okay, so I'm just going to put this at the end here, and set the visibility to true. And then that means once you click generate and a response has been received and the response has been processed, then and only then will this show up. Okay, so good. Okay, so now I can connect this to my device and I can show you guys how this works really quickly. So let me pull up my screen share from my phone. Just give me a second here. You guys can follow, if you are following along, you can just have a look at this and then try it for yourself. Oh, I see Kevin in the chat. iOS is a little bit funky. I don't think a lot of the functions on, I think a lot of the functions on, MIT App Inventor is meant for the Android and not the iPhone, which is a little annoying. But yeah, I just have an Android just for App Inventor purposes. Speaking of which, let me know if you can see this. Oh, no, apparently not. Okay, let me switch this up. There we go. Should be able to see that now. And I'm just going to connect to my app right here. And let's see if this works. Okay, so there's my app. And you can see how the text is hidden for now. So let's give it some ingredients. Let me say potatoes, garlic, and butter. Let's see if it gives me a recipe. And there we go. It's pretty nice. Give me a recipe for garlic mashed potatoes. Very cool. Let's see if it gives me a different recipe if I generate again. Probably not. There's not a lot of things you can make with potatoes. Or it can just break. All right, let me try again. Let's try some different ingredients this time. By the way, just a warning, Chatbot is a relatively new extension and it does have limitations. You can only do so many requests in a day. I'm not sure the exact number, but I have ran into that issue. So just a warning that might also come up for you. Let's do turkey, carrots, and Brussels sprouts. Why not? What's it gonna give me? Roasted turkey with glazed carrots and Brussels sprouts. All right, pretty nice. So here's our ingredients, our instructions. Boom, looks like a pretty good recipe. All right. Now, obviously, you can make this look a lot prettier. I could, let's just say, change this text, make it have a better font, add some more images, some more decorations, change the background color, stuff like that. But I figured that's all stuff you guys can do to customize it on your own. But other than that, does anyone have any questions? Has anyone gotten it to work for them? All right, I guess not. That's okay. That's okay. Do you need to download it? Okay. You shouldn't need to. If you have the extension, it should be working. Unless you're on an iOS, then it's probably not. How to download the chatbot extension. The chatbot extension, let me just show you right here. It should be under experimental. That might be why you're not seeing it. Um, Let me know if yeah, go back to your app inventor and see if it's there. But you shouldn't need to download anything for chatbot. Can someone just send Samuel the slides really quickly? Oh, thank you. Why do you need to nest the three list initialization? Okay, so what I did here, this is not the only way to do it. This is just the way I thought of, or the way that makes most sense to me. So basically, this first list, it splits the text at title, all right? And that's going to create a list of two things. The first thing in the list is just going to be nothing, all right? And the second thing is the list. The second thing of the list is going to be everything after the word title. And then I'm just going to use that, the second thing in that list, and I'm going to split it again and ingredients. Now this time, the first item in the list is just going to be everything before ingredients. Second item is just going to be everything after. Okay. So I'm just going to repeat that twice so I can split these three things into, I can split these things into different sections, I guess. But there is a different way you can use it. You don't have to do it my way. If you can figure out a different way, that's good. That's good too. Good for you, you know? All right. Um, there's no other questions, does anyone need any help then? A local and a global variable, sure. So the local variable, it only works for everything inside of the block. So let's say if I try to use this variable, or sorry, this variable somewhere else, it's not going to work because it's not inside of this block. So the advantage to a local variable, well, there really is no difference. If you use a global variable instead of a local variable, it's not going to change how the code functions. Um, but it just looks a little bit neater for me because when you use a global variable, you're going to have to initialize it. You're going to have to set it as a list, stuff like that. Blah, 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 blah. You're going to have to repeat that 3 times. And yeah, this just looks a little bit cleaner to me. That's why I use it. But you know, you could use global variables instead. But local variables are different because you can only use the blocks if it is inside of it. Oh, that's not a weird question at all. Xiyuan, right? That's because you need to look in the chatbot. You need to look under chatbot. So if you click on that right there, you should get that block. It should be right there. Yeah, that's no problem. And also, if you can't find the notifier blocks, you have to go under the notifier component, and you can find those here as well. All right. More questions? Well, I guess we do have a little bit of time left. Let's make this a little bit prettier. So first thing, I'm going to make these certain size. It's visible. And this, I just want the width to fill parent. Okay. Oh wait, not this one. Okay. Oh. Let me make this color. Change this color. Make it some sort of Thanksgiving color. Let's make it brownish orange. Turn down the darkness a little bit. Oh wait, that's not the. Where's the colors? Hold up. Oh, here it is. There it is. Get this color back. That's a little nicer. I can make this a transparent image though. I'm just gonna make that transparent. Is there anyone else still working on the app that has any questions? Any questions? Let's make this transparent. There we go. Looks a lot nicer. And let me change this font. What about serif? How's that look? Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, let me just change all of these to the same tab. Actually, let's make this a serif. I want to change the width of this to 80%. How's that look? Okay. And I will make the font for this monospace. And serif. Make this bold. And let's change this background color to something a little better. And we can make it a brown. So a little darker. And I'm going to change the text to white. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And I'm going to change this to rounded. There we go. Oh, much better. Oh, I don't know how to use the emulator. I'm sorry. I usually just use a device, and I'm just using a screen sharing application. But you can look up online and see how to use an emulator. It does require some sort of download, though. I'm not too sure about how that works. Let's change these fonts. How's this look? Oh wait, it's just the same thing. Model space, I guess. Okay, yeah, I like that. And let me just try this again. Our new look. All right. Let's see. Give me a recipe. Let's see. Give me a Thanksgiving recipe. There we go. Include these ingredients. Does anyone have any ingredients for me? I'm just gonna go macaroni, cheese, or no, let's do some weird ingredients. Soy sauce. And it's a weird ingredient. Ginger. What does it give me? Soy ginger macaroni surprise. Sounds delicious. All right. Look at this recipe. All right. Hey, that's not bad. That still sounds pretty good. Okay. All right. I think that's gonna be pretty much it for today's demo. If there's any questions, you can always ask me or one of the TAs in the Discord. This is going to be pretty much it for today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. Anyone have any last minute questions? Again, the slides you can access for demonstration or like as reference. At the end, there's also a link to the app, which you can load into MIT App Inventor if you want to look at the code for yourself. But besides that, that's pretty much it for me. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm assuming that's it then, I guess. You guys are free to go. Thank you guys for coming. Make sure to join App In Club if you haven't already.